things. In this video, I will share with you guys how I will budget for 2020. I know so many people don't want to talk about finances, but guess what? You're going to spend money anyway, so you may as well be smart about it. Let's have an abundant 2020 and let's get started. First things first, you guys, you're going to want to get a budget book. This can be any notebook for $1. It doesn't have to be something fancy, something that you order. Although they do have things that you can order online. I just picked up a regular notebook from Family Dollar. And what I like about this, it says Girl Boss, of course. And it has like the lined paper where you have the line on the down the middle. So I kind of like this because I can actually write here and then write the expenses there, and I don't have to create my own line. You don't have to get this kind. You could get any kind of notebook you choose. What I did was I printed out like a mock sheet of a monthly budget, just so that way I could like go through categories of things that you guys may spend money on. So on this one, it says monthly budget. You write down how much you make for the month, your income and other income, and then your total income. And then it has your expenses. So it has your car, it has savings at the top, it has your car, then it has your college, if you're in college or school, or if you're paying student loans, that will go there. So I know it says college. Some people are like, I'm not in college. If you're paying student loans, you may as well be. So you can put that there. So if you have to pay student loans, that's what I will put there. Your car payment, your insurance, I will put in car. Food. A lot of people eat out. A lot of people do Uber Eats, and they don't realize how much that costs. I am a big advocate of making your own food and bringing your own lunch. Like, that saves me so much money, you guys. I remember when I used to go to Starbucks every single morning to get my coffee, to get breakfast. And yes, I say coffee because I'm from New York, but coffee if you know, but coffee. And then I would notice that my money, I'm like, wait, hold on. Where did this money go? It was all going to eating at work or eating at school when I was in class. Like, I was always eating when I was on the go. I would have lunch. I would go to Cozy. I would go to Panera. You guys know, like, if you live in the city or any city, you know those things are so accessible that it's so easy to just do that. Or if you work in an area where people get deliveries all the time. If you work where a lot of people in the office, they'll do where they are going to put in for an order and they're like, oh, what do you want? That adds up too, you guys. Like, you won't think so because you're like, oh, yeah, I'm only doing it once a week, or I'm only doing it a couple times a week. That adds up too. I would suggest cutting back on that. That is my number one tip to everyone who I do their budget for. I automatically say, what do you eat? Do you pack your lunch? Do you eat breakfast at home? Now, the next category on this list is transportation. Now, I know everyone does not have a car. Like, I live in New York City. A lot of people don't have a car. But guess what? A lot of people started to do in New York City instead of taking the trains? Uber and Lyft. And I was an avid Lyft rider before I got a car, and used to get it's so convenient that you can easily just press that on your phone and you don't realize how much money is coming out on Uber and Lyft. Make sure you're not just spending your money or splurging money on Lyfts, because sometimes you'll think like, oh, I'm paying for Lyfts here and there or Ubers here and there, but your car note would be less than what you're spending on Lyfts for the month. The next thing on the list is gas. So same thing. Sometimes people don't really pay attention to like what their gas is because they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can go to certain areas and you'll see like the gas is a lot cheaper. So if you work in an area, fill up there if the gas is cheaper there. If you live in an area where the gas is cheaper, fill up when you get home. So the next thing on this list is car payments. You just write that down. You know, it's really nothing you can do. You gotta pay it. You gotta pay it. Write that down. Never, ever, 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 ever miss a car payment, you guys. Like, that should come out automatically out of your account. If you don't have that set up, have it set up now. You gotta find things that are a little bit economical, that are free, that are low cost to do in your city. What we started doing for the past month is having our own turn-ups in the house. Okay, like, we'll get a bottle of whatever wine or, you know, liquor that we want to drink. If we want to do that, we'll make food or order food. Like, you got to start doing things like that. Like, you and your mate may want to do stuff like that instead of going out all the time. We have our own, like, you know, stuff in the house that we can watch, like on Netflix, and, you know, Netflix and chill or whatever. Like, you can do things where you don't have to always be out spending money. That will save you a lot. So for phone, a lot of times we're paying a lot for phone bills and stuff like that, and we don't really have to. I don't pay my own phone bill. Luckily, I have my fiance paying my phone bill for me, so I haven't paid my own phone bill in over a year. But before that, I had a prepaid plan, you guys. And I know it sounds crazy and people are like, what? But I had a prepaid plan with T-Mobile because I got unlimited talk and text, and I was able to pay a low fee of 50 bucks. It's like, it's a no-brainer. You guys get the gist of everything. You write everything out. And what I do when I first get paid is I pay myself. And I know a lot of people probably heard this before. If you didn't hear it before, you need to pay yourself first, okay? Before you do anything, pay yourself first. Make sure that money is going into your savings, okay? Point blank, period. Money needs to be going to you. Your emergency fund needs to be built up. Make sure you have that in place. To me, I would say a good amount of money to have an emergency fund is anywhere from, well, I always said $5,000, but some people are like, $5,000 for an emergency fund. To me, it should be like $5,000, but anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 is good for emergency fund. Like, you know, you can save more than that, obviously, in another savings account, or just for savings, or just for saving purposes. But for emergencies, you should have that on deck at all times, because you never know, you know, when you might need to pull out that cash. Was gonna do $4,800 because I felt like that was kind of like reasonable for here in New York or whatever, you know, and the expenses and stuff for here. But I'm gonna go with $3,600 so it could be closer to the whole United States, basically. And I don't know if this will apply to other places, because I know the money is different in other places. So if you're watching from somewhere else and it can apply, like, I'm sure Canada could kind of be the same. But here we go. So I'm gonna write down $3,600 instead of $4,800. Because I know there are plenty of people in the South who watch my videos. So I'm just going to go with a lower number. So I wrote down the $3,600. And from that $3,600, your rent. So here in New York, rent is super high. Okay, so I'm just going to put down for rent for a studio apartment here in New York. You'll be lucky if you get one for $1,200. I know, that sounds crazy. So a studio, not even a 1-bedroom, okay? If you want a 1-bedroom, you're probably gonna pay like $1,800 to, depending on where you live. Like if you live in the city, definitely like $2,500 or more. Yeah, so your rent could get kind of steep here. It could take up a big portion of your income here in New York. So a lot of people do like apartment shares, they rent rooms and stuff like that. Like that's what a lot of people do here, or they, you know, cohabitate with their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, because it's cheaper when you do it that way. Or, you know, if they have a sister or a sibling or a best friend, they'll get a place together and, you know, split the rent and stuff like that, and it comes out a little bit cheaper, and split utilities and things like that. So a lot of people do that here in New York. It's not uncommon here to see like people still living at home, or, you know, because it's very costly to live here, especially if you're going to college or school, or, you know, if you're just starting out your career. It costs a lot. So a lot of people here, you know, they will do what they have to do living wise, so that way they can make that coin, because you will be spending a lot to live. Now, if a person is like really budgeting, they will do apartment share, they will rent a room, whatever, and end up only spending like $750, $800, yeah, for one room. People spend $800 just for a room. Like you don't have anything, like you share the kitchen, you share the bathroom. Some of them have where they have their own bathroom. Those are like $1,000. But yeah, you're basically in an apartment with other people. And some places have micro studios too here in New York, where, you know, you have your own fridge and your own microwave set up. But you don't have like a bathroom. You don't have like, you still have to go out and share the bathroom in like a main area, a hall. You have like a main kitchen area, like where everyone uses and stuff like that. So yeah, like living arrangements could get really crazy. In LA too. LA is another place where living arrangements are different. So let's see if it say it's $1,200 for rent. then you're going to want to put your car. A lot of people here don't have cars in New York. A lot of people do take the train, but there are people who do have a car. So let's say your car note is $350 a month. So let's say car note. And let's say your insurance. Insurance in New York is high. So I'm going to put insurance at $285. That I'm going to write down now that we got your living out the way. We got your car out the way. Or transportation. So next to it, I'm just going to write transportation. So it could go either way. Some people get a Metro card. I don't know how much the monthly Metro cards are anymore because I haven't bought one in over a year. But it used to be $120. I don't know if it's still $120 because I've been driving. But I'm just going to put $125. Or what? Matter of fact, I'm going to put $145. I'll put $150 in case you take some Lyfts and Ubers and things like that. The next thing that I'm going to write down, if you live on your own, you're going to have gas. And you're going to have a light bill. Now, you may split this with your roommates. Like I said, people share. Gas here is not that much. The gas bills are like anywhere between $15 to $25, $30 a month, depending on how many people are cooking and using the gas. So if you split that with people, your gas won't be so much. So I'm just going to put $15. Light, that's a whole nother story here, okay? Con Ed, they trip sometimes. So your light bill could be $80 one month and $120 the next month, okay? So what I would suggest for this is get circuit breakers. As soon as I started getting circuit breakers and using circuit breakers and turning them off, like plug your stuff into the circuit breakers. This is another budget hack. Plug your stuff into the circuit breakers, and when you leave your house, turn off the circuit breaker. That cuts off everything. Because you think, oh, my TV's not really on because it's turned off, or this isn't on because it's turned off. No, it's still using the current. So flick that circuit breaker off, and your light bill will be lower. So for light, I'm just going to put $50 because I'm assuming you may share it with one roommate. So if your light bill is $100, then splitting it with a roommate would make it $50, or $40 if your light bill is like $80. Most people's light bills aren't that high if they don't stay home all the time, but certain things can add up. So just keep that in mind. So I just put $50. Now I'm going to put phone. Like I mentioned before, you may want to get a prepaid plan, or some way to get a discount, to get something where you're not spending an arm and a leg. So I'm going to put $65. Even a family shared plan, like if you have family members that'll go in on a plan with you, or even your mom, your dad, whoever, like I'm telling you, you have to be economical. You have to be strategic when it comes to budgeting your money and finding the best deals, because sometimes you'll be paying way more on your own, and if you just join a family plan with someone, you guys will spend a lot less. Make sure it's with people that's going to pay their bill though and have their portion of the money, otherwise it will not work out. So next we have entertainment. I'm just gonna put $100. Let's face it, you guys, we're young, we go out for drinks. Even if you go for happy hour, you're gonna spend money, okay? So I'll put $100 because if you're on a budget, you want to try to go out every other weekend. So the weekend that you get paid, it's okay. Like, okay, if you get paid every 2 weeks or every other week, try to go out that weekend. Spend $50, go drink, go see your friends, go socialize. The following weekend, you're back in your house. Don't call me or whatever. Or if you know there's an event coming up, just save that $100 for that particular event, so that way you can splurge there and have fun with your friends, and you know, whatever the case may be, go in on a bottle or whatever the case may be. I don't know. That's what we do here. We do bottle services and stuff like that. So whatever you want to do, just make sure you're having that money. If it's $150, if it's $200, if you have a girlfriend, you're gonna want to put date night underneath entertainment because it may add up. So you may want to allocate money for that, okay? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with Netflix and chill once you're already in a relationship if you're trying to save money. Like, all right, we went out last weekend, babe, this weekend we're staying in the house. Like, you can do that too, because you're going to realize, like, how much you're spending on going out, and things add up. Like, you'll be surprised how much $250 could be spent quickly on a date night. Now, you guys, this video by no means is telling people what to do with their money, because listen, it's your money. You're gonna do what you want to do with it. But I'm just sitting here to tell you what you can do if you want to budget, if you want to see more money to invest, if you want to see more money to save, if you want to, you know, save money for a house or whatever. You got to start implementing these things, because that down payment is gonna cost. You know, like, things cost, and you're gonna look at it in the long run and be like, oh, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I cut back on buying food every day at work. I'm glad I cut back on, you know, going to Dunkin' Donuts or going to Starbucks every morning. So you need to control your spending. You need to make sure that you're not, you know, just swiping. We get used to swiping and tap, like, especially with Apple Pay, that tap feels like you didn't even do anything. It feels like you didn't even spend any money. So you have to be wise and be, you know, cognizant of your spending habits. So you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys subscribe, and make sure you guys hit that notification bell and check all notifications, so that way you guys see my videos, because you will not see them if you don't click on all notifications. All right, so I hope you guys have a great and amazing day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.